Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ed Berliner. Thanks so much for joining us. Our continuing coverage of the Nevada GOP 2016 caucus. It has been rife with reports coming out of Nevada tonight about people showing up in Trump shirts when they're collecting the ballots, people voting 2 and 3 times, people being completely confused about what's happening, total and utter chaos. Yet at the end of it all, the ballots are coming in and they are being counted. Here's the early word that we have. First early word that we're getting from some of the entrance interviews, if you will. And this is according to Associated Press. Nearly 6 in 10 say they are, and what a shock, angry at the way the government is working. I'm shocked it's only 6 out of 10, to be quite frank. Entrance polls conducted as people arrived at the caucus locations show another third showing they are dissatisfied with the government. Exactly what we have been hearing for months, and the engine that is driving Donald Trump. Early arrivals most likely to say top issues facing the country are the economy or government spending, each listed by about 3 in 10 in the caucus. Immigration and terrorism, each chosen by slightly fewer, about 2 in 10. That is the total of what we have coming out of Nevada right now, because everybody's still voting. But we're still going to look at all the issues and things that are going on here. And perhaps let's talk about one guy who just a few weeks ago was leading everybody, and everybody was talking about the amazing job he did in Iowa. Now it's almost as if Ted who? At least to some people. Let's go ahead and get to it. Once again, let us welcome back. He is seen Monday through Friday, right here, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on the Newsmax Network. The Steve Malzberg Show. My buddy Steve Malzberg joins us. Also coming back from Sirius XM POTUS 124, also the Forbes senior political contributor. Oh, and by the way, that POTUS 124, that's Steele and Unger, weeknights 6 to 9 Eastern Time. Rick Unger's back with us. And also a pleasure to welcome in the political commentator at ReaganReports.com, Michael Reagan. Gentlemen, here we go. Michael Reagan, good to talk to you again, my friend. You're first up. You're brand new here to the bunch. So let's start with you. What I just talked about in the entrance polls is exactly what we've known. It's what people have been telling us for months. And is this not exactly why we are telling people that Donald Trump's going to win, and Donald Trump likely will continue to win right through Super Tuesday? He's hitting all the nerves.
Yeah, he's hitting all the nerves. And you know, I was wondering today, I said, what happens when he doesn't kick 11.5 million people out of the United States of America? What happens when he's not able to stop all the Muslims from coming into the United States of America? Will those who are angry at the government because they're not doing what they were elected to do, how angry will they get at a Donald Trump if he becomes president, if he too is not able to follow through on those things that he is saying? Building a wall, having Mexico pay for it, stopping Muslims from coming in, 11.5 million people deported out of the country. Big things he's talking about, big issues, but will he be able to follow through? And if he doesn't, what will be the mood of the country?
Michael Reagan, I think you just touched on something that very few people have been willing to touch upon, quite frankly, because they do not want to anger certain people out there who believe that Donald Trump is the answer. Steve Malzberg, I'm going to come to you because, let's face it, Steve, once Donald Trump is elected, he then becomes a part of the government that everybody is so angry at. And I think Michael's points are well taken. What happens when he doesn't build the wall or can't kick 11 million people out? How are those people going to react then?
I think that's really putting the cart before the horse and getting way ahead of ourselves. And I'm glad to be on with both Michael and Rick. And, of course, you, Ed, Michael and Rick were on my show earlier tonight, and we talked about a bunch of stuff. But, I don't know what purpose it serves at all to speculate, that Donald Trump, I think he's going to win the nomination. I think he'll beat Hillary. But to say, okay, so he's president, and then he can't fulfill what he promised to do. I think if he makes an honest attempt, if he runs into a dead end in the Congress, there's a difference between trying to keep your promises, working hard and earnestly to keep your promises, and what Mitch McConnell did at his victory podium, where he said, we're not going to shut the government down. And never challenging Obama, never making an attempt. There's a huge difference. So if Donald Trump gets elected and tries and puts forth proposals, and even his own party stymies him, he tried. It's better. But if he doesn't try, if he goes the other way on these issues, then they'll be ticked off.
Michael Reagan, right across the net back at you, because Steve makes an excellent point here. Because, look, we've had politicians right now that don't even try. Isn't that what the American people really, at the end of the day, want to see? At least you're trying to get something done?
Yeah, but you do have politicians who do try. They have put bills and legislation on the president's desk, and he vetoes them. And goodness gracious, they can't override a veto because they don't have the numbers to override a veto. Have they made some mistakes? Yes. Have they promised things and they haven't delivered those things? But on the other side of the equation is they're dealing with a president who doesn't work with anybody in Washington, D.C. He runs it like he's a dictator, vetoes things he doesn't like. And listen, you're not going to get rid of Obamacare. You can put it on his desk 400 times if you want to. Not going to happen. Why? Because he's going to veto his main piece of legislation. You need to have a Republican Senate and a Republican president. And we have a chance right now to have it all, to have the Senate, to have the House, and have the presidency. And my worry is that we're going to blow it.
Okay, 30 seconds, Steve, and then I'm going to let Rick in here. Go.
How many bills has Barack Obama vetoed? 2? A Keystone Pipeline maybe and something else? They said they were going to put bill after bill after bill after bill and let him veto it. And then we'll run on that in the presidency. They did nothing. And then you get Paul Ryan, who gets in bed with Obama in this spending bill, which is a disgrace, which funds every single thing Obama wanted. Come on.
All right, Rick Unger, I come to you then as the left voice in all of this because both sides make very good points here. I mean, at least you want to try. I got to be honest with you, Rick. That's what I hear from a lot of people, whether they're left, right, indifferent, makes no difference. They say, look, I just want a government that at least looks like they're trying to do something. So are we missing something here?
That's not what I'm saying, Ed. That's not what I just want to make clear.
That's what Michael's saying.
I'm saying.
No, that's what Michael is saying. Michael is saying that at least have somebody there. I heard you, Steve. Rick, to you.
All right.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Listen, this is obviously my night for agreeing with Republicans named Michael. I like what Michael said when he in his first speech there. This is the problem of Donald Trump. He cited 2 examples of things that we absolutely know he can't do. And yet the people who follow him just hear it and they go, yay, rah, terrific. It's not going to happen. This has been the problem. Look, Donald Trump, for all I know, might have the stuff to make a great president. I don't know. The problem is I have no idea what he's really going to do because there's no substance behind the speeches he makes. He just talks about punching people in the face, and he uses bad words in front of little kids that are at the rallies. And I know what he's saying about immigration. Okay, he's actually got a policy there. You can agree with it or disagree with it. But Michael Reagan's got this right. He's not going to be able to deliver on most of these things. Yeah, okay, he'll say he tried. But he knows very well that he's not going to be able to do it. I'd rather hear policy from a candidate that has a chance
That's
of happening.
Not true. He could build a wall. Why can't he build a wall? Mexico needs us more than we need Mexico. Why can't he eventually make Mexico pay for it? You say he can't do it. How do you know he can't do it?
Because he can't do it.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
You got Constitution. And by the way...
Constitution? What in the Constitution says that whatever Donald Trump is proposing can't be done? Tell me. Cite
because we're not going to have 11.5 million people
constitutionally, it can't be done?
You're right. That's not...
Really, that illegals here illegally can't be... Wait, no. You made a point that the Constitution prohibits Donald Trump from following through. You're telling me that the Constitution prohibits rounding up, finding people here illegally and kicking them out? Where?
No, you win that point. Let's move on.
All right.
So now let's talk about the wall. Because here's what we really know about the wall. When you build a wall in an urban center, Michael lives in San Diego. If you build something on the border of San Diego, you know what it does? It works. It absolutely works because there's lots of people running around watching what's happening at that wall, lots of border patrols. But you know what happens? When you build the wall out there in the desert along Texas or Arizona, it doesn't work at all because there's nobody there. So it takes you longer to climb over the wall. The wall is, in many places, a fallacy idea. In some places it works. But why can't we have an honest conversation about it?
All right, let's go ahead and move on to something else here because I think we've beaten this one under the ground right now, and we're going to continue to, at least, because there will continue to be the discussion by those who say that the wall, the 11 million immigrants, simply cannot be done no matter what Donald Trump does. However, there are those who say that Donald Trump, however, can do it. Michael, go ahead. You wanted to add something.
If I just jump in for a second. We sit there and make the argument almost to the point where we think, if we can just kick 11.5 million people out of the United States of America, build a wall so nobody gets in, that all the problems in America are going to be solved. No, they're not. We'll find another problem that we have to solve, and we'll start blaming someone else. And it's just amazing to listen to the debate and listen to the argument. Do we need a immigration policy? Yeah, we absolutely need an immigration policy in the United States of America. But it's become the third rail of politics where everybody's afraid to touch it. I was talking to a member of Congress about 3-4 months ago, and I was talking about the immigration policy, coming up with a really good one. The first thing they said to me was, "Well, what do you think Ed Coulter will say?" I mean, we have a Republican Party
that's the first thing I
scared
ask
to
about
death,
everything.
scared to death of what talk radio and pundits are going to say about them, and so they're afraid to move. So a lot of it comes from us, Steve. The fact that you have members of Congress actually afraid of talk radio.
And I think talk radio might have cost him there. As a matter of fact, look, something else I want to throw in here too, guys. Why is it that nobody ever mentions the visa waiver program? No, I'm dead serious here for a moment. If we're going to talk about this, let's discuss this here. Why does nobody ever mention that that's the biggest thing that's broken right now? And as a matter of fact, there are more Mexicans that are leaving this country than coming in at this point. Whether you want the wall or not, let's be honest, let's talk facts. We still have more leaving now than coming here, and the visa waiver program continues to be just sloughed off and nobody talks about it. Mike, why not?
Well, it doesn't make the phone ring. It doesn't get any numbers at all in the ratings. You get more ratings by talking about illegals than you do about sensible things like, visa waiver programs. What can we do about that? What can we do about those who are here and overstay their visas and don't go home? Because I can make the phone ring by talking about what? Illegals being in this country, and that's what makes the phone rings. That's what gets raised. Why is Donald Trump on every station on the planet? Because he gets ratings.
And Steve, let's be very honest here. With the visa waiver program, a lot of the people that have hurt this country right now have come in here on visas. It's not as if they all crossed borders here. So I'm not going to go ahead and denigrate what you're saying. You're right. This issue does need to be taken care of. But the visa waiver program and the fact that a lot of the people who are terrorists, including the people who are homegrown terrorists, a lot of them come here on visas. Why aren't we dealing with that, Steve?
We should be dealing with that, and that has been talked about by Donald Trump. When Donald Trump talks about not letting any Muslims in here, those Muslims would be coming in legally. They're not coming in here unbeknownst to us. So he's talking about fixing that. It encompasses everything. But when you have millions of people who are here again breaking the law, taking jobs away from Americans, and now they want them to vote. Do you know that the Justice Department is going to bat so illegals all over the country could vote in our elections? And in New York City, they want them to vote for mayor and other officials. That's why people are fed up. Not to mention sanctuary cities. Not to mention the crime.
All right, well, let's not mention them right now because, quite frankly, we're going off on something altogether. We only got about a minute here. So, Rick, I'm going to let you have a word in here as well. I did ask you, but I didn't ask you about sanctuary cities right now. I asked you about the visa waiver program.
Well, wait,
you got it. I understand.
No. You said why is one more important than the other, and I'm telling you.
I'm not going to get into an argument about it. All I'm saying is that we asked about the visa waivers, and I understand. I think you nailed it perfectly. Rick, I got about a minute left here. Why is it that both sides don't seem to, and I'm going to hold both feet to the fire on this, talking about those problems, making sure that the people who come here legally are not the people who want to hurt us. That's a bigger problem.
Yeah, I actually think it's a great point. And again, I hate to say it, Michael Reagan gave you the right answer. It's not sexy. People don't understand it. You can't hold a rally where you're asking for people to support you for president and maybe even send you money and talk about the visa waiver program because they're going to scratch their heads. But if you look at the facts, you're exactly right. That is how some of the most damaging, dangerous people have come into this country. So there's no disputing
San
your points.
Bernardino, the woman came on a wife visa.
Yeah.
That people talked about that. Trump weighed in on that. That's part of what Trump has discussed.
But what I'm saying is I think that needs to be talked about more, and there are many people saying that that's the bigger issue than worrying about a wall at the moment. Possibly. All right, gentlemen. We've been here a long time. And this one was probably one of the best debates we have had all night. Steve, got to tell you, love to have these discussions with you, buddy. Steve Malzberg, The Steve Malzberg Show, 7 o'clock Eastern Time right here on Newsmax. Michael Brown, I want to thank you so much for coming in. And Michael Reagan, I want to thank you very much for coming in here and starting the fire, if you will. Rick Unger, stick around. We're going to talk to you as well. This is our coverage of the Nevada 2016 GOP caucus. Stay with us, waiting for some of the early results right here on Newsmax.